Good. October baseball is here, and the Dodgers have clinched their 13th consecutive postseason appearance. The wildcard season begins tomorrow, and I will be covering it all here on Dean Frank Sports. But first, I have my guy, Greg Bergman of ESPN LA, very own Blue Review, here today to talk some postseason ball. Greg, thank you so much for hopping on.
Not a problem. Appreciate you having me on. Let's
Let's
do
do it.
this.
Let's do it. Okay, so let's paint the picture. It is the bottom of the ninth. We are up one run. We are late into
Oh,
the World Series game. Last year it was Bueller. Who do you want to be on the mound this year?
I mean, there's a lot of things. That's a very loaded question, man.
I'm
It
painting the
really just
picture.
depends on what had happened. You're painting the picture, then I need more of the picture then. Like who has been used, who has not been used, is who pitched the day before, who's available is what I have to say. It depends on that because don't give me Trinan, don't give me Tanner Scott. So is Shohei available?
He could definitely be available. I guess it's kind of it's a hypothetical. It's we have
Okay.
obviously seen that this bullpen is all over the place. We have probably six aces who can maybe pitch a no-hitter whenever they want. Let's
I'll
just
put it
say
to you this
anyone's
way.
available. Let's say anyone is available.
Anyone All right, then the answer is very easy for me. It's Shohei Ohtani, and that's if I need to get three guys out, I want the guy with the very, very best stuff and the best control, and I want it to be Shohei Ohtani. He's done it before in the WBC, striking out Mike Trout. I can see him. He has so many a variety of pitches, and he seems like he would have the best arm in that situation. So yeah, give me Shohei Ohtani, and then hopefully he's hit 3 home runs before that too. So there's that.
No, I love it. I mean, we saw in the regular season that Roberts kind of definitely managed Shohei to not let him pitch, the full, whether it's 6 innings, 7 innings. He kept him so that right now it feels like he's the perfect amount of health where I feel super confident that he's going to go in and shut it down because obviously there were games that we had lost in which he had started and we lost because of our bullpen issues. So I'm like, shoot, maybe we should have left him in. But I think we're at the perfect spot right now. Shohei's healthy, and I feel confident with Shohei on the mound. But we got to talk about it because Blake Snell is the guy who's going to be starting tomorrow, and Yamamoto will be playing in the second game. If there is a third game in the wild card series, it's going to be Shohei. So, are you surprised at all that it wasn't Shohei right off the bat?
I was a little bit surprised. They seemed like they had him in line for Tuesday starts, and so he'd be in line for the game one start. And I know Yamamoto was not going to be available for that one, so I figured it was going to go Shohei, Snell, Yamamoto, and save possibly Yamamoto for that game one start if they get through the Reds in 2 games. But it makes sense too. I mean, the Dodgers are in such a good spot when it comes to starting pitchers. They're in the best spot amongst any team in baseball that if they do get through the wild card series, whether it's 2 games or 3 games, to just run their guys back. I mean, everybody stays in line. So it really doesn't matter who that three is, as long as it in some order it was Snell, Yamamoto, Otani, Yamamoto, Yamamoto, Snell. It really didn't matter. So those 3 guys are just such lockdown guys, and the way that it works out for the DS, it's Friday. Sorry, Saturday is the game one, and then Monday is game two. So if whoever starts on Tuesday can start on Monday, Snell can just start there. They're in such a good spot. So they just got to get through the Reds.
No, 100%. I mean, I love how we're talking like ahead of it already because, of course, as a Dodger fan, you got to be confident. I mean, we've won the division. We won the NL West the past 12 out of 13 years. That one year being the Giants beat us out by maybe one game. So, this has been the baseline for us. It's almost like the regular season has almost been a preseason for Dodger fans as we head into regular season October baseball. I'm so excited. Another guy I wanted to talk to, of course, Kershaw, calling it a career after this year. And I was a little surprised just to say that he was left off of the wild card roster. Obviously, I know he pitched last game and just how the schedule works out, he wouldn't be pitching, but I feel like it could have been a little more smart to leave him on the roster just in case we needed him. I know we'll have Glasnow and Sheehan come in. Kind of, I also want you to piggyback off of your piggy, however you want to call it, your
Piggyback
plan of the
plan.
backup pitchers. But first, were you surprised that Kershaw was left off, and what do you see Kershaw's role with the Dodgers being for the rest of the postseason?
So they got to of course, got to get through the wild card, but he'll be in the bullpen when it comes down to it, along with Roki Sasaki and maybe hopefully doing a little bit more piggybacking as well. But that won't be till DS, obviously. I'm a surprise. They really could have done it differently. They didn't need to pitch him on Sunday. They didn't need to pitch him 5 1/3. They didn't need to give him 100 pitches so that he would be worn out for him. I mean, they still could have left him on, and when he did pitch, it would be a bullpen day for him. But I think they just wanted to let it all kind of, even itself out and just be at full strength, assuming they get to the DS. It will just suck. Like if they somehow don't make it through the wild card and then he was left off that roster, that is just going to feel so, so bad. But hope they got to get through that. So I was a little bit surprised, yeah, that he didn't make that to make the roster, but he really could have been useful, especially what we've seen from the bullpen, everything you were talking about. The piggyback plan does work, and especially for this short wild card series of 3 days in a row. But you also could have done it so that Kershaw could have been, if you go to a game three, could have piggybacked Otani, and then you'd have a different working it out a little bit differently. So, I'm a little bit not annoyed, but surprised that they did it that way. Hopefully get through two. Everything's just hopefully they get through two, but I'm
Right.
surprised.
No, I mean, it would be just as crazy if we somehow got swept at home and then Shohei didn't even end up starting because we just have so much star power on this team. It's almost like, how can you not be playing everybody? But I guess kind of going back to that is what would you say that the piggyback plan would be the perfect ideal, 1-2 punch every game? I think we'll probably have what four different aces coming out. So let's say add Glassnow to the mix. Where do you see Sheehan, Sasaki, Kershaw? I mean, like where, I guess, after which ace do you think would be a better backup?
So, I mean, right now, I think they did it correctly with Glasnow on Saturday, where they just pitched him those 3 innings in a short amount of pitches. I think it was like 38, just so he'd be ready to do this whole piggyback thing. But that's what it is. It's going to be, I think, truly that it's going to be Snell to Glasnow, Yamamoto to Sheehan, and then that's where it's going to get a little bit dicey. It's all just going to depend on what Otani does if it gets there. I think they're truly believing that their pitching staff is good enough and with the piggyback that they'll be ready to just have two guys go and get through it. Now, all the best plans fall apart.
Sure.
So if they're banking on that, then they're not doing it right, which I don't believe that they are. So that's why I feel like Kershaw would have been the right guy behind, yeah, Otani. But either way, were you asking about the wild card or were you asking about the DS?
I'm getting ahead of myself and just talking about the divisional round, but I think with
Oh,
the wild, I think either way, I mean Kershaw's not gonna like he's off the roster in the wild card round, so it makes sense. But I love Glasnow there. I love Sasaki. When Sasaki came in that first game after injury and he came in 1-2-3 like it was nothing. I think he is definitely like going back to my first question. I could see Sasaki ending up being our guy late in the ninth.
so I can see that too, but you have to kind of pull the brakes back just a little bit. When we saw him in the major leagues at first, he was walking guys. His fastball velocity dipped heavily after his first start, and he was throwing about 94, 95, and even down into 92, 93 at times. He's had two total innings back since then. Now he looked good. That all looked great. He was hitting 100. His splitter looked great. He was throwing strikes at the bottom of the zone. He wasn't wild. So, if that's what you're going to see, then awesome. But that's still only 2 innings. So to give him that big of a role, to put him into a closer role in that situation, that's just such a high amount for a 23-year-old, which we have to still remember he's super young too. I just feel like putting that much on Sasaki is going to be a lot. It all looks great right now because we saw 2 outings and we're like, hey, this guy, a bullpen guy that actually can throw strikes. That's awesome.
We just
But
needed a
he's
shutout inning at that point in that game. I forget which game it was, but it was getting bad. I mean, it was back-to-back games where I felt like I was making reaction videos like every night, just what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? But now it feels like we're a little more balanced.
yeah, no, it does feel a little more balanced now. I mean, The bullpen's the bullpen. Tanner Scott is starting to look a little bit better. I don't trust Blake Treinen in the slightest. So Sasaki's going to have a big role. I think Kershaw, if it gets to the DS like you're talking about, he's going to have a big role, but it's really going to be the starters backing up and piggybacking as much as possible. Because Glasnow, this is where I'm going to go back to your piggyback because I didn't realize it was for the DS. That was on me. If you have, at that point, depends on who the starter is for game one. Glasnow can be the game four starter, and he can still do a piggyback in game one of the wild card or whatever it happens to be, because that would be his typical bullpen day. So, and no, they're higher leverage bullpen outings. So, but you can still get those guys in.
Right. Sweet. So I think we've gone long enough without talking more about Shohei Ohtani. He's about to win his back-to-back MVP, like just being with the Dodgers. Just look at what has happened, him being with the Dodgers. Last year, win the World Series, he wins MVP. Hopefully it happens again, but he's on track to win MVP again. Like, was this the perfect outing we could have asked for Shohei? And in a weird way, it feels like he's almost underrated somehow with Dodger fans. Like, we know he has the potential to literally be the greatest of all time. And it still feels like we don't understand how good he is. I mean, he is like new records every single season, of course. 54 home runs last year breaks the Dodgers record, 55 this year. He's just making his own records at this point. Are you somewhat surprised how well this is coming together with Shohei, or is this, what obviously what we paid him to be here for?
I mean, he's everything that we wanted him to be and more. Nobody was expecting him to go 50-50 last year and win the World Series in the first year. I mean, you wanted the World Series, of course, but no one was expecting the 50-50 in the way that he did it too. And then he does it again this year in a whole nother way, that 50-50, it's 50 home runs and it's 50 strikeouts. So you're seeing the full Ohtani, and it's not even the full Ohtani yet because he hasn't pitched for a whole year, which we're supposed to get next year. So it's all working out, to your point, in a very, very good space, because now he's going into the playoffs. He is in the exact spot where he's supposed to be with his pitching on the pitching side, where he can go as long as he wants. He doesn't have any restrictions. He went 90 some pitches. He can go in 6 innings. So now all that's off and he can do what he wants. So you're going to see everything. And so underrated, I don't know if you can actually underrate a guy like Shohei Ohtani, because everything he does is amazing. And every single time, doesn't matter what, any record that he breaks, anything that he does, it's always amazing. Even hitting 55 home runs this year to break his previous record from the year before was amazing, because nobody ever in the history of the game had ended a year with 55 home runs. So very strange.
It's insane because at some point you kind of expect him to keep breaking this record. So sky's the limit with Shohei. It's obviously been awesome to watch. My next question is, we got to talk a little bit about the playoff bracket. So obviously being in the wild card race is a lot different than we've seen the past decade as Dodger fans. Do you like how we kind of like, do you like having, obviously we beat the Reds out in the wild card. We will match up against the Phillies. In my opinion, I think the Phillies are the second best team in the NL after the Dodgers. I'm not trying to disrespect the Brewers, but that's just how I feel. Do you feel like playing the Phillies a little earlier might be better for us? Or how do you like the bracket and how does it look? I mean, let's just say the Padres, the little bro Padres make it out somehow. Like, how do you like how the NL looks after maybe the wild card race?
I mean, it's going to be tough. The Phillies are always going to be tough, and they are the best. But I like to look back at what the Phillies were doing, and they had those games. They had all three of those games won at Dodger. I went to the first two, and they were the ones that they lost.
Yeah.
But they should have won both of them. If it didn't come down to the terrible bullpen, they would have won all those. And they also hit their bullpen pretty well. So, and even got a home run off of Johan Durant. So that was a pretty big deal. I think they match up really well with that team and can shut down their big guys in Schwarber and Harper. So I feel good about facing them, as long as they don't have to face Blake Treinen and Tanner Scott and the guys that they decided to just beat up on as soon as the starters left. So I do feel good about playing. I don't really feel bad about playing any team. It's now you're in the playoffs and anything can happen. It doesn't matter who it is at this point. But the Dodgers just are, to me, are the best team that's out there. So they're going to have to get through the best of the best of the best anyway. So give me all those teams whenever they come out. So if it's the Phillies next, awesome. Let's just get through them.
For sure. I mean, it was definitely a rocky season to say the least, but it's still crazy saying that, like having a season winning over 90 games. It's just our floor was almost at like 100 type of season win. So it definitely was rocky, but like you said, this is October baseball. Anything can happen. My last question, just as someone who's, been covering the Dodgers for a while, lifelong Dodger fan, do you have a favorite moment that you've covered? Is it the Freddie Freeman walk-off grand slam? Maybe what's something, that the viewers might not realize how cool it's been as you, someone to be around the game so long.
I mean, I've seen a lot of different events, and one of the ones that I mean, watching what was it, 2017, Chris Taylor like diving and catching the ball in the outfield against Kristen Yelich and the Brewers. That was pretty amazing. I didn't get to be there in person, but I was at the Freddie Freeman game in person, so that to me is the
Oh,
greatest sports moment in my history in general. Just for everything that was happening to walk Mookie to get to like Shohei came up with an opportunity. He gets a little pop up into the outfield, but Alex Verdugo or into the stands. Alex Verdugo makes some crazy diving catch, moves a guy to second base, which allows them to then put Mookie on first. And then that allows Freddie to come up. The whole thing was just incredible to see. I've never been so excited in all my life. So in person, the Freddie home run is bar none the best moments, not just in my Dodger watching experience, in my
yeah.
sports watching experience.
Yeah, no, it's hard to beat. I think everyone's going to remember where they were at that moment. I was down in Boulder. I was on Pearl Street. I was with a bunch of Yankees fans actually. So that'll be crazy cemented in my head forever.
Oh
But
man.
hopefully somehow we can build a bigger moment this year. Hopefully the Dodgers can run it back. I know it hasn't happened in 2 decades, but to me, it still feels like they're going to do it. And I might be a very biased Dodger fan, which I am. I'm spoiled as well, and I'll take credit for that. But for the Dodgers not to have the best odds projected to win, it still feels kind of weird. So we'll see what happens. Any last thoughts? I mean, do you think the Dodgers go back to back?
See, if there's a team that can go back to back, it's the Dodgers. It's just this team of the Dodgers. They have the best pitching staff in all of baseball. They have the best 1 through 9 all the way through. It really just will depend on what happens out of that bullpen, which is so devastating to even think about. But if they can hit and they can pitch the way that they've been doing for the last month and a half, yes, I do think it's so. I don't think another team has had the really the best opportunity to do it. This Dodger team has the best, and have fully believed that they're going to win the World Series again this year just because of all those things. Like the Shohei Mookie Freddie trio at the top, and they're all playing really well right now. They are
Yeah,
hitting their stride
so
right
good.
now, I think is huge. So, yeah, I totally think that they're going to win the World Series this year.
Multiple MVPs, so much star power. Just as long as everyone stays healthy, I think this is the Dodgers' year to go back to back. If any team is going to do just like you said, it's going to be this year's Dodgers. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thank you, Greg, so much. I know everything is kind of all over the place, but I appreciate you, man. And I'm looking forward to watching some Dodger baseball. Cheers.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go, go Dodgers. Go blue.
Let's go.